Like, what's gonna happen?
Who knows? Who knows? Oh, man. Is anybody out there? Can anybody hear us?
Can anybody help?
Can anybody? Is there do we have a tech support? Is there a tech support for America? Can we get like a Geek Squad for America? Or like that, like
for democracy, honestly.
I really do think we just need to take this thing into Apple Care and be done with it. You know what I mean? Like, let's set up an appointment. It's a 5-minute drive down the road.
You're so right.
You know what I mean?
There's social distancing too, so you'll feel safe when you get in line.
You will feel safe. The lines are really spaced out, guys. Everyone wears their mask. They have hand sanitizer for you.
Gotta get America into Apple Care.
Gotta get America into Apple Care right now. Good afternoon, oh masters of chaos. Here we are.
Hi, Dad.
We're so ready. So ready for this. Welcome back to a very special episode of the Chaos Twins, y'all. Good.
In the middle of the chaos. You know what's really been great is like listening to Biden say we need an end to the chaos. I'm like,
no, it's like, little do you know, Biden, that we don't.
It will never end.
It will never end. As long as Broadway World gives us a free StreamYard account, we will show up and show out for it.
We're very excited to be here today. We're very excited. We're so excited about our guest as well that we're going to go ahead and bring her on.
You gotta bring her on. She's and I mean, it really is. I'm very happy with the amount of just powerhouse Black women that we've had the opportunity to get on the show. But this is somebody who just belongs in that stratosphere. This woman is an actor. She's a playwright. Some of the things that you may have seen her in include Nocturne, For Color Girls, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, which is one of my freaking favorites. Kind of the play that I learned about her amazing writing work from was Schoolgirls, the African Mean Girls play. This is truly a gem to have on here. Jocelyn, get in here.
Hi. Hi, everybody. Hi, Sasha. Hi, Nick.
I just want to say, Jocelyn's an amazing playwright and an amazing actress. But also, I will never forget bonding with you over Jess Glenn, the singer.
Oh my God, yeah.
I was like, I really like this music, and I don't know where it's coming from.
Love it. Love it.
No, what is Jess? I don't know
her.
Jess Glenn's like this British, like, pop, I would say, like very pop. So it feels like very like white girl music. Like you're just like, but it's very happy, but also she sings down.
Yeah. She has a very unique tone. She's got like a really cool tone to her. A lot of her music shows up in like, I don't know, like transitions on like love episodes of Love Island. You know what I mean? It's like very like,
yeah, it's very good. Like, let's get it. But her lyrics are very like, I don't know. And she also has like a lot of like gospel tones and stuff in there too, if you really listen. She was on, her stuff was on that what was that? It was an HBO show, the one in the 70s with Bobby Cannavale, and like it was like
Vinyl.
Yes, Vinyl. She sang like a disco song, like in a scene, like in Vinyl. It's like very that music.
Her voice can go there. Yeah. I forgot about that.
I never have, because I was just like, I feel like I don't even know if it was like we were out somewhere and the song came on. And
like Rather Be or something like that. We were like, I love this song. It's very shopping and Forever 21 music. But
yeah.
I'm here for it.
I want to point this one out. I'm surprised you guys came on today.
Yeah, well, listen, what the hell else are we going to do, Raquel?
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Literally nothing else to do but like commiserate with each other. Like
we are here for you, Raquel. We're here for you. We're here for each other. That's all. And we're here for whatever's in this mug. You know what I mean? Whatever's in that glass.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna set up things that make me happy today. And this is one of them. People that make me happy, and that's it. Like, honestly, we've had a couple of people ask, how are we feeling about the election?
I guess we get.
How are you feeling about the election, though?
Mm-hmm. What election? I don't know. I mean, I really did a lot of self care and protection yesterday. I wasn't watching the results come in. I was, I made food. I drank.
What did you eat? What did you make?
It's lightweight to get on me. I had I made surf and turf. Steak and lobster and like not so healthy Brussels sprouts with like some bacon in it, child.
100%. That was the correct choice.
Yeah, I was like, my stomach will be happy tonight. Like, even if my brain and my heart aren't, like
the rest of your digestive system.
Yeah. I'm gonna have one organ that I can control happiness with. So
no, I'm gonna say. I mean, my entire weekend, I got to be honest, has been like a array of Oreos and whiskey and chips and you know what I mean, like we're not doing that right now. If you're about the healthy life, you get out. I
had Mexican food, but it was vegan.
I love that for you. I love that journey.
So I don't know if it was, honestly, don't know if it was healthy or not. Like, Oreos are also vegan, I'll say, but
yeah, they are.
So I feel like that's probably the health level of my nachos that I had, but they were very delicious. I think what we're getting at is that we're talking about how we secured our perimeter.
We are in fact talking about the securing of the perimeter, because we got it
with people. Oh yeah, read it out, Nick.
So how did you do it? How did you secure your perimeter? The world is in fact chaos. Good Lord. How you maintain your boundaries against social media trolls and NYC water bugs. None of this matters. The election. How did you maintain your boundaries against the election? What took you by surprise this week besides the election? How did you do it? Our perimeter check is clearly this week all about the election. Wow, it's back up. Now it's gone. Now it's back up.
Chaos. Oh my God.
Chaos.
Did you guys watch with people, or were you alone? Like, that's the thing about this election, was like, it was odd because you weren't like at work, and so you weren't like with people who maybe voted differently than you, or like having to bemoan things, or like that collective sort of like experience. Yeah. But then I don't know if being alone is better all the way, because then you're just like, oh God, like what's happening? So how did you guys watch?
Well, I didn't really watch the, results coming in, because I knew how crazy that would be. So it was me and my boyfriend were on the same page with that. So we just watched other TV, and then like probably around 11 or so, we started checking in via like, Twitter and New York Times and stuff like that. But like, it was actually a much healthier way, I think, to consume the news and to hear like the talking heads on CNN or MSNBC or even Fox News. Sometimes I like to check in and see what we need to know what my enemies are saying. Yeah, I like to check in and see. But like hearing the constant drone of them just being like, filling in space until they could actually project a winner is like, I think even more. Yeah, it does more to your anxiety than need be. So, yeah. But today, I've more than made up for it today. Today, I've been like, what do you all have to say? The news has been all day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was flipping through. I was with some friends, and I was flipping through like CNN and like MSNBC, and then one person says, "Should we turn on Fox?" And I said, 100%, we should turn on Fox. And so we turned on Fox, and I spent a lot of time also questioning like wardrobe choices by like all of them, because I just thought like, you have a lot of time to think about this, and I I don't know what Joy Behar had on. I'm really confused.
Oh.
I love her, but it was like, I mean, it was giving me Wakanda vibes, but I was like, I don't think this did the thing that you wanted it to do. But honestly, I think I was focusing on that to not focus on what was actually happening in front of me.
Not to cut you off, but let's be honest, that's kind of America, right? That's like, if America had a subheading, I don't think this did what you wanted it to do.
Maybe that was her whole subtext.
Yeah.
I don't think it's doing what it's.
There were a lot of jewel tones across the board, but hers had like a scale thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
It was giving me very like, but maybe it was. I don't think it did what we wanted it to do. Honestly, yeah, you're right.
You know what? But blessings to Joy. Blessings.
Joy, what a joy.
What a joy. What a joy they are.
Take a little time to enjoy the view.
Oh, you know what? That's not Joy Behar. It was Joy Reid. Because she has the readout. I don't even know who I'm talking about, y'all.
Either way.
Because you said Fox. I was like, is Joy on Fox?
She's on Joy Reid. We got to get off of this because I'm so confused with myself. But Joy Reid is on MSNBC.
Joy Reid's on MSNBC.
Yeah, and I love MSNBC too because they always have the three women. There's always like only.
Yeah, women. It's her. It's Joy Reid, Nicole Wallace, and Rachel Maddow, and like they just take us through. And you know what? They each of them like always have like a really fresh perspective on things, especially Nicole, because she used to be like, I mean, she's still a Republican, but she like leans more liberal now because she's really against Trump and blah blah. So I actually, it's all nuts. I think the issue is that we just don't understand why it was this close.
That part. That's how
I think, you know, when you have margins. Like, I mean, in some places, I think like in LA, in Georgia, or in like one of the Carolinas that, you know, Biden has he's like slightly behind Trump. Like the margins are like, you know, a couple 100,000 people, like few thousand. Like, I'm just like, are we kidding? He's killed nearly 250,000 people. So many people have lost their jobs. Like, he said the most insane, you know, things that like, it's not just against Black people or people of color. It's like just across the globe. Like, all of these people have lost their jobs, have been out of work literally since March. And the only thing he has done is like, okay, well, here's $1,200 and like, good luck with your life. Like, I don't understand. And so like, and this is what people are saying, like, there's nothing else that anybody can point to then other than racism. Like, there's truly nothing else you can point to. If we're in the middle of a pandemic that's killed so many people, that's surging now in so many places, that's doing all of these things, that's disenfranchising so many people, not just people of color, but, you know, people underneath us in a particular socioeconomic background. All of these people are in flux, in limbo at this time. All of them. That is a big, huge majority of the country, including places that none of us live or none of us are from. I'm from New York, so I think there's a part of me that's always kind of had like a real bump. I'm from New York. I'm the child of immigrants. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just know all the things. But I went to boarding school in both Pennsylvania. I went to college in Ohio. So I have a very clear understanding of how a lot of these people live in the, you know, these places or whatever from a very young age. But I'm like, he has demolished all of it, y'all, all of it. So the only thing I can think of is like, there are people who are voting with the hopes that they can still be in proximity of power. And right now that power is a xenophobic, racist, white man. And that's it. Like, he didn't even get his own money in a legit way. We'll get to so many things. You know, I used to work at Trump Tower. It's like a whole thing. I know.
You work at Trump Tower?
I used to work in the Trump International Hotel, a hotel in whatever it is, Hotel and Tower or something like that. The one in Columbus Circle. Yep. I used to work in the restaurant that's in there, Jean Georges. And so Trump used to come in quite often, and I would, check his code or seat him. And
wow.
Amazing.
What a time. I quit that job when I booked a Broadway show, but I had no idea that a year later he would be running for president and win. So it was kind of wild.
Mm. So let me ask you guys this, if you don't mind. So we look at this and we say, okay, racism, and we, it seems obvious to us that it is. Here's my question, because the fact of the matter is that it was close, right? This race is still this race that is nail-bitingly close.
Yeah.
So when we say racism, I guess my question to you is, what do we mean? Because if we mean racism in the sense that these are people out here who are, whether it's actively or even subconsciously, down for segregating Black and brown people, I think some of them are, but I'm also going to push against that, because I don't know. To me, this came down to one thing, and it's not even the coronavirus. It's people's fucking money.
Yeah.
Which ostensibly, if you want to link it back in the country, has everything to do with race, because the country was founded on money from slavery. So in that sense, yes, racism. But then I go back and put what we're dealing with now in 2020. People who truly are tired of this virus, people who want to get back to fucking work, people who think that we are just kidding ourselves and that it's not as scary as it actually is, people who are seeing somebody saying, I'm going to put you guys back to work. Stop. End of story. You're going back. The economy, we're starting up again. And the risk is low enough that you can go back and just risk it. Do you know what I mean? That is a really fantastic to buy into.
Yeah.
The idea that I can just fuck it. I have lost so much. I just want to get back to work. The country shut down. I'm hearing it didn't need to shut down. So let me just get back to work. And again, I put this because what hits me on the opposite end is, at that same time, it's also, again, a point where you're putting the individual need before the community. Because is I. Because here's the thing: even if this virus isn't as bad as they're saying it is, which it is,
1,000% is,
1,000% is. But even if we're living in the fantasy that it wasn't, the idea that you would say, well, you know what, it's not that much of a risk to me. I'm going to go out there and get mine. Instead of listening to the people who are saying, hey, I'm scared and I'm hurt and I'm suffering from this. Can we slow down for a second? That to me is that was the central question of this election. And it's not even Republican versus Democrat. Is it about me and me getting mine while I'm alive? Or is it about us as a country figuring shit out?
Yeah.
And you have people who, and so in that sense, I'm not surprised by the half and half divide. And that's what I'm asking. Like, is it as simple as racism, or is it really a question? Are we as America at this precipice of, are we about each other or are we about ourselves?
Yeah. I mean, I think I totally hear you on that. I think the issue is that a lot of the majority of his base of people who support him are not people who have, essentially low income jobs, or, folks who really need to work, are living hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck, the whole bit. That's the majority of his base, like the people that he, truly support him. And so I think that it's a twofold thing. If they keep hearing on the news that, COVID is only really disproportionately affecting Black and brown people, then they're like, well, if it's not affecting me, and I am John Q, who lives in the middle of Utah somewhere, surrounded by a bunch of white people and have no even contact with anybody of color, then I should be able to get to work. So I just feel like it always still then stems back to something that is, the foundation of it is racism. Like, there's just, of course these people who are, multimillionaires and stuff like that want a tax break and blah, 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 especially because they've been drilling in, oh, Biden's gonna, raise your taxes and vote and stuff like all these things. I mean, they're getting terrible information. That's one. And, so I think they're gonna, vote in that way. But I think too, it's like, there's just no other way to slice it. Like, if these, in terms of like coronavirus and COVID controls and all of that, that's all state mandated. It's not like Trump's going to be able to do anything for them if they work in Nebraska and want to go back to work. That's not up to Trump. That's up to whomever the elected officials are of said state. So I knew it would be
these officials, Governor Kemp of Georgia, that's where I'm from, who whatever Trump says goes. Mm-hmm. So there is this herd mentality of well, whatever Trump says, his base is so glued to him and his charisma and his personality and whatever they have projected onto him, whatever of themselves they see in Donald Trump, which I think is really powerful and terrifying. But I believe that Trump, and that in some way he represents these ideas that we want to have and hold about ourselves and who we are and what we can be. And some people see themselves in that for whatever reason, for better or for worse. You want to be a successful business person. But I think, for people who say, well, I don't.
Which he's not even, but okay. He's a great brand ambassador.
But I mean,
his own brand. Yeah,
he's a brand person. He's like an influencer. He's like a glorified social media influencer. It's just what's happening behind the camera. But I think that when we talk about, because there is this exhaustion of I don't want to talk about COVID anymore. Everyone talks about racism, and people don't want to deal it. They don't want to. He is telling people what they want to hear and what we want to believe about our country, that it's not racist, that COVID isn't real, and that everybody's going to be a millionaire one day. That is what we want to believe about who we are. But when we talk about racism, I think it's important to note that racism is a tool for power and money, for power. Mm-hmm. We could use anything, and I've been working with and reading this book, Cast, by Isabel Wilkerson, who also wrote The Warmth of Other Suns. Mm-hmm. And she talks about, she uses this, metaphor of, what if there was a society where, all the tall people were thought to be dumb and, were only good for manual labor, and short people were smart and had, were to hold these other higher paying jobs, and tall people were, confined to manual labor and menial work. It could be that. It could be anything. But in this country, it's skin color. It was the thing that was we could identify was different from the first who came here and the indigenous peoples, and the first immigrants here. And then from then, we go to Africa and start shipping bodies. And the thing that separates us is skin color. So people but then we've well, I'm not racist. I don't feel this thing. I don't hate Black people. But like you just said, it can be an indifference because of the structure that you participate in. And that is you're not affected by it, but that is a product of a racist structure in society where race, skin color, this made up thing of race is used to identify where people go and how they get and what they have access to. So then if you don't even if you're just living in an isolated place and you maybe haven't, you're I don't know what racism is, because you don't even know people of other races, or you don't really, interact with people in that way. When we talk about, I think being anti-racist, that is actually not enough to say well, I don't participate in this thing, because we all do. We're all born into it. We all have to have this sort of anti-racist process that we have to go through. And I heard someone speaking the other day, and she was well, I'm Black and I was born into it. I had to do my own work to dismantle white supremacy within my own body. So anyone who tries to tell me that they don't have that in their body, it doesn't make any sense. If I myself had to go through and say, okay, these are ideas. And I will tell you, particularly as a fair-skinned African-American woman, that there are things on both sides where I had to deal with the privilege or the favor that some people would like to ascribe to that that lighter skin tone, as well as like the fact that I didn't know what to do with my hair for the first 25 years of my life, you know, like just that wasn't accepted. So, yeah, I think when we talk about racism, like, is it racism? And you're like, yes, it really is at the bottom of everything. And it's structural. Like, that's what we're talking about, that it's not always personal. It's sometimes just where you grew up, or where you had access to, the things you were taught, and then how that interacts with what power you have, what power you perceive yourself to be entitled to, or that you should have, or that is yours and shouldn't be taken away. I also think, Nick, to your thing, we are definitely a very individualistic society, and we can see how there are as many, you know, there are lots of times when that is a great thing, and like freedom, and having the freedom to choose, and not being like tracked, or like, you know, not being locked in your apartment by force. Like, can you imagine? That would be terrifying. Yeah. But there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that.
It requires so much. It requires so much thought. You know, I have my best friend, who unfortunately, you know, is a DACA recipient and, you know, can't vote. But she had a lot of friends in Florida when she lived there, you know, for a year for work. And so she reached out to them personally and was like, you know, like, I'm going to, you know, do phone banking to my personal, you know, roster of friends. And, you know, she even talked to like some people that she knew who were, you know, of Latin descent, or like Afro, you know, Latina descent, who just said, well, I've done well work-wise, financially, under, you know, Trump's, you know, reign, which means that he must inadvertently be connected to that in some way. I mean, if I thought that way, then like I would have voted for Trump. Like, I've done really well since 2017, but like that don't got nothing to do with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like that's not it. You know, you have to have that kind of thought. You have to really like be thinking like, okay, you know what? And even if I did think like, oh, I did really well, maybe it is inadvertently or somehow connected to him. I think, you know, yeah, if we were a country that started to think and vote, you know, based on the good of all of our American brothers and sisters, as opposed to just like what us personally, you know, what affects us personally, we would be in a much different place. We'd having a much different conversation. I'd probably still be drinking in celebration, but like.
Speaking of which, I just want to pop this up. Michigan was just declared.
And was Yay! I'm gonna look for it. I just want to get verification on that.
I did see MSNBC change their count to 253.
I got I was getting blown up on like text messages.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like he's up. It looks like he's up by
8,000. Yeah, because I'm definitely seeing Wisconsin. Because I'm on NPR.
Oh, good.
I'm
seeing Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan is still the
difference. Excuse me, is 61,237 votes.
Y'all. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, you know, here's the other
thing about the call. Yeah, go for it, Nick.
No, go. Please talk.
No, the calling of the things with the networks versus like the Associated Press. It's just tricky, but it's sad that, okay. That's just ratings. These are my issues with like cable news.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about ratings.
All about ratings.
I mean,
hold on to Michigan for Biden.
It's about can we create the best story? Here's my question to you guys, because based on everything you just talked about, so what we have seen is I agree with everything you said. Let me first say that. But what we have seen is two starkly different Americas. Truly two like equal, starkly different Americas. And what I am wondering is, at what point, here's what we're fighting. We as people of color, we as Black people, are in an abusive relationship with our country, and have been since the beginning. Okay, that's just the truth. And we love our country, so we are trying to wake our country up to the fact that we are being abused. We are saying, when you do this thing, even if you didn't mean it, even if it wasn't supposed to come out that way, it hurts me when you do this thing. And we say this over and over, and there's little ticks towards, okay, they get it. And then there's ticks right back.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do something that I know my wife has had to do for me on several occasions, which is love our partner, but also and hold space for our partner while they're not holding space for us. And my question to you guys, and this is I asked this question in hope because to me, let me say this. To me, you know, Jocelyn, you said that the Republicans are going to need to have a conversation with themselves. We're going to need to have a conversation with ourselves. What we need to do is learn
by we you mean all of America?
All of America.
Yeah, okay. Sounds like it's been very clear terms of like where people like us live and align ourselves with.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because I don't want to hear nobody. I just want to say, after this, I don't want nobody talking about the black vote.
Yeah.
Everybody shut up. I don't care if Trump doubled his numbers. He doubled his numbers from 4 to 8%. Shut up. I don't hear nothing about it. Black women have been gathering everybody together.
It's true.
For
vote and come get this vote.
Forever. So I just want to like say that. So you mean everybody by America? I mean
America. I do mean America, and I want to come back to that point because that's a very interesting point you just brought up, and I will come back to that because I have a lot of questions. But America is going to need to reconcile with itself.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to, or we split, or we're two countries. And my question is, how does it happen? That's my question to you too, and not a question that I think anyone in their right mind has a good answer for, but I just want to spitball here. How do we have this conversation? Because we're truly living in two different worlds. They have an entirely different set of facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not stupid.
I think, you know, first of all, I do feel like, I mean, I hate to be like, you know, hopeful, you know, Hattie over here, like just like everything, you know, whatever. But I have to say, like, you know, based on the America that I feel like I know, that I think about, that I, you know, whatever, you know, I'm actually happy that it's close leaning towards us rather than, you know, that means that all of the white people who had to have the crazy conversations with their grandmas, their grandpas, their uncles, their aunts, their everybody or whatever. That means that the 61,000 votes that, you know, we just got from Michigan or whatever, that means that at least 61,000 white people like got through to somebody or something. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, big ships turn slow. Mm-hmm. This thing is a big old thing. It's a big old thing that we are just cracking. Like, our parents, our grandparents, or whatever, are older than the civil rights movement.
Yeah,
they're older than that. And it's also, I'll speak to this as a global thing because, you know, I think, you know, there's obviously a conversation about me being first generation, and, you know, I'm not Black American. I, you know, come from, you know, two Ghanaian people, whatever, but I was born and raised here in New York. So I feel like I have a very unique purview about, obviously, the Black American experience and also the immigrant experience. But, like, my parents are older than even Ghana's, you know, independence by miles. You know, my father was in his mid-20s. He was 26 when Ghana got their independence and didn't know what to do with his old British pounds because that money no longer was valid anymore. Like, he couldn't even remember. So, well, what do I do with these pounds? You know, he didn't even know what to do. So, like, this is a really global, until all of Ghana, which was the first country to get their independence from British rule. So all of Ghana speaking English, essentially, to overthrow the entire, you know, British system. Like, that was it. That's when it had to happen. Yeah. So big ships turn slow. And we are inching. That's why the Titanic sank. They didn't turn the thing fast enough. Because it's a slow thing. So you got to really understand. We got to be very hopeful that, like, with each different thing, we have to count those victories when, exactly. but we have to count those victories when what you call it, when some, I don't know all the names or whatever, but like when the squad, when AOC and all of them, get reelected, we have to count those victories. We have to count the victories of all our LGBTQIA plus brothers and sistren and everyone in between, get into Congress or become a House representative or something like that. We have to count those victories. We can't just ignore them in any way, but it's going to be a very slow shift. And we have to keep our foot on the gas. We also have to keep our foot on the gas. Like, let's hope by the end of this thing or after this, conversation that all three of us have, let's say Biden ends up becoming the winner. We have to keep our foot on the gas.
Yeah.
With him, with the Senate, with Kamala, with everybody, to make sure that they are pushing forward past what we know is systemically against us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to require a huge team effort, and it's certainly going to require, obviously, America, white people in general, to actually, reckon with that in a real way and acknowledge it as a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, because we're talking about what we believe about ourselves. I think when we say two different Americas, for me, it feels like there's an acknowledgement of a lot of painful things, and a want to really face those things head on, and a need to, the reality. Mm-hmm. And then there is the story that we tell ourselves, or that some would like to tell, that we would like to tell ourselves about who we are. And we've always had this sort of just bipolar, meaning like poles of like where people are thinking about what this country is, or existence really, where the land of the free, formed on top of the backs of like enslaved peoples, and it makes no sense. And we have to face that, and we still have we've never faced it, so we have to somehow deal with that insanity, like in our own identities. But what I want to ask though, for you, especially Jocelyn, as a writer, and we're talking about the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. Your voice is just incredible. Like the African schoolgirl, like it's just so good. Like you're able to tell stories. And for me, I think to bring such humanity out of a story that maybe I have no experience with, which is a talent and a necessary skill, I think. And for you to tell stories based on like your parents or your background, your cultural background, like, and be able to make that feel familiar to people who have no connection to it. And then I kind of want to ask you about Once on This Island, about approaching something that exists and honestly probably has tones of like, this is what we want to believe about how things happen and race, and it's all happy at the end. There's a tree and we name it after someone, or there's a Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and we named it. Now we're fine, and so I would just love to know what it's like to work with something. We're talking about working with our country. What is it like to work with a pre-existing work and try to what are you thinking about bringing through with this? Tell people about the project, like the movie, and like how, I don't know how it came about. I'm very excited about it because I think it's a beautiful story, and I'm so excited that you're the voice on it. Like that you got your hands on it.
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. And here's the thing. I initially said when Once on This Island came to me, I was like, no, I actually I didn't really think about it much. I was just like, no. And, a couple of, close friends in the business who are in, my circle were like, just at least reconsider it. And the reason why I said no, I think, is because like, while it's a piece of work that all of us, especially those of us who, work at theater or grew up with musical theater, all knew and love, there was still, now as an adult, you have this thing about like the way the story plays out and how crazy it is, So I just didn't want to like go anywhere near it because I'm like, I'm not being dragged by nobody. I don't want to do, I don't want to go anywhere near it.
People are getting
yeah. I was like, I don't want to be collected on Twitter in this way. So I said no. And then I was kind of, encouraged to reconsider it. And I said, well, I'll reconsider it if they at least reconsider big changes that I would want to make to the story. And to, Disney and Mark Platt's credit, they were 1000% interested in, me making changes to the story. And, obviously, still honoring the property and whatever. I knew that I could find a way to still honor the property, honor the thing that we know, and update it and make it fresh. First of all, fresh is like key for me. Making it a modern island, love story, that very explicitly, but not kind of beat you over the head in terms of like colorism.
Yeah.
And specifically certainly honoring the Black woman, as a whole. And I think because the story is like derived from several different things. It's like it's Little Mermaid, and then it was, My Love, whatever, from Rosa Guy's thing. And then it became Once on This Island. And now I'm the fourth iteration of essentially The Little Mermaid, as filtered through Caribbean, love story. So anyway, I take, and having to write this story in the middle of what has been going on in this country, has been really, really a fascinating exercise for me in terms of like approaching work and whatever. I feel probably an even bigger responsibility to deliver a very clear, accurate, but human story. And so I really think I did that. I really believe that I've done that. And I wish I had news to be like, it's out of development and it's production, whatever. I don't have that kind of news to share. But I will say, like, in terms of early polling on my side, in terms of like the producers and the folks who have read it, they are incredibly excited about what we've done. So, and by we, I want to also give credit to my director, who I still haven't even met physically. I haven't even met in person. We've only met via, Zoom and everything, because she lives in Kenya. And so we've been doing this process like all virtually and everything, but she's become a really, good friend. So it's been a real thing, but I feel the responsibility of being like, we have to like, how do we add political, things? There's so much about, Daniel's story that can be, politicized, and like the history of this fictional island is very clearly pulled from Haiti. And like, how do we, honor the fact that like Haiti is one of the first nations to overthrow, their government on their own, without anybody. It's like, how do we acknowledge all of that? How do we acknowledge the like clear suppression of their roots, and wanting to align essentially with like white people and white supremacy, and with that further pushing down, where they derive from. Like, I mean, that's part of colorism. Like, that's part of it. It's like accepting one thing and honoring that and pushing down the thing that is very clearly a part of you. So all of those things, I think, have been added to the film. And I feel like we'll really, hopefully, if we, make it to production, really resonate, I think, with like a modern day audience now. And certainly, with Black people. That's why I write what I write. That's why I think I always set it in the places that they're set, because I don't want there to be a conversation about who's going to be in the show. It's just always going to be Black people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like, we can talk about the ever-present thing of like white people and white supremacy and whatever that looms over top of us without having to put them on the stage. And so, yeah, I think part of the, theater-wise, that's why I always lean towards it's always gonna be Black. Always, always, always. We'll work on the accents. Like I always tell people, I'm like, we'll work on the accents, y'all. We'll get a coach. Like, we'll work on it. But like, I'm always gonna write for my people.
I love that you're like saying, I just choose the setting so that there's no question about who's about to be here. Who's gonna be here.
Like we can control that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and you've dealt with, I'm thinking now, like you've dealt with colorism, like you dealt with it in Schoolgirls, like you've dealt with that idea a lot. And it's something that I was aware of, like growing up in the South as like a light-skinned person, not because my family really embraced any of it, but just like it's like the same thing with races. It's like it's not that I was participating. I know it's happening, and I feel it, and I see it, and I notice it within myself, and you have to deal with it. So yeah, but it's also something that people are like, what? Like, what is this? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, totally.
And this is this is why I love your work as well, because I think this is the thing that fascinates me, is that we talk, and this goes back to the question I asked about reconciling with ourselves, but we as Black people have inherited strata.
Mm-hmm.
We have. Do you know what I mean? And even in our own, like, we are beautiful people, but we're going to have to reconcile with the fact that, like, whether it's colorism, whether it's our definition of what Blackness is and looks like gender-wise, like likes-wise, like, we have a lot of things that we need to continue to work through to present that united front that we deserve. Yeah. Because I really, when the All Black Lives Matter hashtag came out, I was like, yeah, that's it. Because people are going to look at this one and say, but I'm not a part of your Black. Yeah. You didn't want to be a part of your Black. So where am I? And now I just love that I'm so happy that you are a voice who is doing this. I do want to throw one thing in here just to add to this conversation of movies. See if I can pull that out.
I saw this earlier.
This is really good.
It literally, y'all, I got taken out. I said, this is too much.
Things are still moving. Like, I'm getting like texts and stuff. I'm not going to be like a CNN. I'm getting things, CNN reporting, but things are moving, you guys. I don't know. Moonlight, it's coming.
Moonlight. Moonlight. The winner is Moonlight.
Like, they're just going to hold up the ballot. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Sorry, we called this wrong. The winner is Moonlight. We bring him back. We got. Oh,
and
God.
There's also the thing too. Like, look at this joy we can find, because like we've been here before. We've been here before so many times in various different ways.
Yes.
All the time.
Too many times. Too much. Not surprised. And you're so right. Like, we have to keep working. Like, we have to keep moving. We have to keep doing the things we're doing. Like, what your work is not going to change based on like what happens in this election. Like, because I think we have seen, my sister's trolling me, you guys.
Stop. You gotta fix that. You gotta fix that. You gotta figure that out.
I deserve this.
Yeah, you really got to get on that.
You can reconcile this tonight.
You can, in fact,
all the time. And I don't know. I think, but this is funnier, right? This is funnier. Her having the ability to do that. When Biden wins, I will watch Moonlight.
Okay.
I think that's
when the Associated Press announces that he is the winner. I will watch Moonlight and then figure out how we're gonna get Trump to move out. Because
it's a beautiful film.
It is a beautiful film. You know what? You know what else is a beautiful film that I want to do a shout out to, because it has nothing to do with anything we talked about, but I watched it last night. Me and my wife watched it last night. She loves an extended Halloween. Halloween does not end on October 31st for her. It ends when she says it ends. So we watched The Mummy last night, y'all. 1999 Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Okay.
I remember
the cleanliness of that script. It's actually surprising. Like, I let me just put that to anyone listening right now. If you want a movie to just take a look at, go back and look at The Mummy. It is really well done. Brendan Fraser, gem, Rachel Weisz, gem. Gotta say that. I just want to put that out there. Beautiful film.
All right, I will circle back. I haven't. The first thing that comes to mind is the Universal Studios ride.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, look, my sister. Oh, wait, we control sisters. Calvian. Hi. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Jackie.
I love it.
She can't troll me on Moonlight, though. She know I've seen that.
Troll away. But yeah, the Universal Studios ride is possibly my favorite ride in history.
Gotta get Trump to move out. hold a quarter pounder with cheese at the front gate. No.
What is happening? This is.
Oh, there's some trolls in this house. There's some trolls in this house.
But Sasha, your sister is coming in with some truth. This is why I love your sister.
Not Jurassic Park, Sasha.
Have you not seen it, Sasha?
I don't think so. I think it scares me.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave.
I'm out.
Bye, Nick.
Listen,
But scared me, Jumanji. Couldn't watch it.
No, Jumanji's scared. Doesn't it have the weed born and stuff?
Yes, it does. Jumanji's not y'all.
Yeah.
Nah. Nick was talking about
I don't deal with that demonic stuff. I don't get down with that.
I don't. I won't. And I won't.
Sasha, I need you to watch. We can do it together. We got to watch Jurassic Park.
Oh.
It's the perfect whatever. I'm not going to get into this. This is not about this. It's not about this. We have a tradition that we do here that we'd love to do with you because you it is sad that James Lipton has passed on because so many people do not get to have his 10 questions. So we try to do a little vengeance, not vengeance, but we try to make the world a little right on this show.
Yeah.
And do James Lipton's 10 question for the people who would eventually have to do them anyway.
Yeah.
You are obviously one of those people. So we have the James Lipton 10 for you. If you have your shot or
I do. I
do it.
Oh God, I'm just gonna take a gulp.
I have a little history left.
I put it in a you can't see it. I put it in a shot glass that says London in case that's where I need to move.
I love that. To London. To London.
From anywhere these days, so maybe that
to London. Shout out to London. Lockdown again. Shout out to you all.
I'll be there soon. See you.
Yeah, I love you, London.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Glenn will be at your concert.
We're about to get shut down for just wagging on Londoners. It's gonna be terrible.
Okay.
There we go.
So what do I do? So I just do I take a shot yet or no?
Take the shot. Take your shot.
All right, here we go.
There you go. Down the hatch.
I'm out.
Now we just have everybody trying to be British in this chat.
I know.
Cheers.
Cheerio. Thank you.
I love it. All right, so I'm going to ask you these questions. We find that these questions come best when you don't even think about them. But take your time. I mean, do whatever you want. It's your time. So
I'll try to just hit it.
Try to just hit it. See what happens. Okay, Jocelyn, what is your favorite word?
Favorite word? Shit, not curse word, but favorite word.
Favorite word?
I probably say blessings all the time.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Blessings. What is your least favorite word?
No.
Great. What turns you on?
Oh. Okay. On a guy or just on anything, huh?
It's up to you.
Well, I will say I think a good sense of humor and a nice body. Here I am.
Here you are. We love that. What turns you off?
Arrogance and stupidity. And I don't use that word too often because I think everybody's smart in their own way, but just blanket stupidity is just no. Got you. Okay. What sound or noise do you love? I really love the sound of like kids laughing in a playground. I think it's sweet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What sound or noise do you hate?
Construction. Like constant drilling, construction, banging, like chill.
Now we get to the question, what is your favorite curse word?
Oh, I'm a pretty bad like potty mouth. I'll probably say shit.
All right.
But fuck is really high up there. I curse a lot. For a deeply devoted Christian, I curse a lot.
It's beautiful. That's exactly what it should be. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Event planning. I think I would be a great like wedding planner or an event planner. I think I'd be a great like campaign manager. Like they would all win.
There you go.
Totally see you as a campaign manager.
I can see that as well. What profession other than your own would you not like to attempt under any circumstances?
A doctor. My brother's a doctor. I just think like someone else's life being in my hands is just a responsibility I don't want to have. So no.
Yep. And finally, if heaven exists, what would
it does?
There you go. What would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Girl, hey.
Love it. Love it. Beautiful answers. Beautiful answers. It has been such a privilege having you on this show, man.
Oh, thank you. This was the perfect way to celebrate whatever this day is.
We're getting, you guys are getting, it's getting.
It's getting something.
But you know what this day actually is, and it is really special to me, and I always will remember it, is that today is actually the anniversary of Barack Obama's first win. And I just thought that was like I will always remember November 4th for that. It will always be like so incredibly special. Wow. I did not think that would happen, and it did. And it was just like super special. That's probably the first time that I voluntarily ran to Times Square and like celebrated with like all these people. It will always be a special day. So even if today it feels like, we can always hang on to the fact that like that day, like America actually felt as beautiful as we want it to be. So.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. Jocelyn, can we watch, is Schoolgirls available, or can people watch where they can follow you at your handle, but is there where we can send people to see your work? Yes,
there's various versions of Schoolgirls productions that are online. There's definitely a version of it on my YouTube. I think I'm allowed to say that. You can watch like the MCC, the original production, on my YouTube page, and then also on PBS. If you live in the like tri-state area, you can also watch it on there. And I don't know when Once on This Island will come out, so just look out for that. And I don't know, I wrote other things. That's so boring. Like, just everybody just, whatever I post, look it up. Like, it's fine.
Yes, I would highly suggest, like, if you have not viewed any of Jocelyn's work, please go. It's just wonderful, great viewing, great for these times, and just, instead of binging something else that you've watched 17 times, maybe and it's great theater, honestly, and we need that, so. Thank you for being here, Jocelyn. So good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everybody out there, please take care of yourselves. No matter what happens, take care of yourselves. Give yourself space to drink a little something, eat a little something, take a nap, do whatever you need to do to just pray, meditate, whatever you do your thing today. All right. We love you.
We'll be back, November 18th? I always get this wrong.
I believe it's November 18th. That is correct.
So not next week, but the next. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, y'all. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.